What's up, people? This is Zach. I've never done one of these before, so usually I'm the type of person to write all my thoughts out. So this is different, but I thought I would just give you guys a video conf about FTC and the end game and how I think these votes are gonna go. So it would seem that this jury is quite the bitterness, very bitter. And it's a good thing I cut Fred when I did, because I don't think I would have won if Fred were in the FTC with me. But I have to be honest, I don't exactly know where some of these votes are going to go. I'm just here to present my resume and hope for the best. When it comes to resume between me, Pig, and John, I personally think I have a pretty good one. I mean, I made it to the end with 0 votes. That's something I've never accomplished. And I didn't realize I did that until I was writing my speech. I basically had a lot of control on this endgame. Merge all around, actually. So I'm a little baffled that people are starting to say that this vote is getting close. And no offense to John or Pig, but I just thought that my strategy was miles ahead of theirs. Apparently, not so much. But no, I think the way people feel when they get voted off is definitely a factor that's coming into play, especially with people like Joseph, Avi, Seth, Clast, Fred, all these people that tend to revolve around me burning them. But if you think about it, it revolves around me. I was such a big influence in this merge, I think, at least. So yeah, I'm here to go through each person to see where the votes may go. Right now, I think overall it does come down between me and John. Pig not answering questions right away or being consistent with questions definitely played a part in people's thoughts and decisions. I know he's busy IRL, so that could be a big factor. So I think it definitely comes down between me and John. So person by person, we'll go in order. Ben is someone who I think looks for the overall good player, but he might be a little biased towards the people that he liked throughout the season. And looking back at his OG season, he and Chandler really liked Pete, and Pete was the overall better choice. So I was expecting that going into FTC with him and Chandler. With him, it does come down between me and John. I think it's anyone's game, but a part of me thinks that he's weirdly got this like love for John that I just didn't know was there. So I'm a little worried that he might be voting for John and not me. Moving on, Gary. Gary is someone who I have no idea who's voting for. What the fuck? I think he's looking also for this overall good winner, etc. But yeah, I don't know. He hasn't seemed too interested. His question was basically like, did you guys like think it was worth it? What's your overall view? And just like didn't really say much. I have no idea where his head's at. I want to say it's anyone's game, so he's a big question mark. Gwen, I feel like, is the only person I might have in my pocket for a vote. I love Gwen. I feel bad I didn't talk about her enough in my speech. I was trying to make my speech more objective than anything, but I realized that it's coming across as cold-blooded, emotionless, and like I didn't cherish some of these people. And that's not the case. Another thing is I'd never lie for fun. A lot of people thought that, and I just don't do that. If I do lie, there is a justification for it. If you look through my comps, I mean, I would say why I said what I said to each person, but I get why they feel the way that they feel. Gwen, I feel like, just needed to hear from me, so that way she knew that she wasn't just some game piece for me. And I feel like I really do have Gwen's vote. She's the only one I feel confident about. Who is next? Joseph. Joseph has been on the quiet side too, but he's someone who I think respects the game. And I hope that he sees that I played a pretty good game. I know that he went out not necessarily on good terms with me. He didn't really say anything, and I know I amped that up and said, oh, he sent me hate messages afterwards, but it was just so that way I could say the jury was bitter towards me. They really are, but no, Joseph was never bitter towards me. But I still don't know where his head lies. I want to say he's voting for me, but you just never know. So he's like a small question mark bias towards me. Chandler flat out said he's not voting for Pig. So once again, between me and John, and he said that he's looking for the better FTC performer. How is this vote close, y'all? Huh? It's dumb. Anyway, another question mark. Am I winning this game? Am I losing? Who knows? Okay. Moving on. No, let's go back to Chandler. I didn't talk to Chandler as much as I wanted to, and it was because he was such a big obstacle in my game. I always wanted him out. He had an idol, he had an advantage, and he was this big character in his OG season. So going into the merge with him, this was something that was always in my mind, and he was never on the same side as me. In every single vote, never on the same side as me. So I think a lot contributed to why we didn't exactly have DMs that were popping. So if he didn't vote for me, I would think that would be why. But I hope that he just takes a look at my resume and thinks that I'm the better overall player. Hopefully. Okay, moving on. Avi, I think, hated me on the way out. Avi actually did send me hate messages and said, I will not vote for you on the way out. Avi's been quiet. I don't know what they're thinking. I would think that they did send me a message, actually, in their questioning channel. And I hope that it was something that was squashed. I lied to Avi multiple times. It was a good 3 rounds in a row where I said, I'm doing this, but I voted another way. And the third time was ultimately Avi's boot. But I'm sorry, but that's the name of the game. I played a good lying game. I lied, yes. But that's Survivor. And I hope Avi can put aside how I treated her in terms of that and look at my style and think, okay, maybe he does deserve to win. Seth was someone I didn't exactly talk too much, and I think this one was because we didn't really have a lot in common. I actually take pride in Seth's boot because I positioned myself perfectly in that final 7. I was in a split 3-3. It was magical. So even though it was a pagonging, round after round, I set myself up to be in that position, and I actually really take pride in Seth's boot. Seth, we didn't exactly talk much, and there was a point in time where I found out he made up a lie about me. So there wasn't a lot of trust there to begin with. So working with him wasn't exactly something I was trying to do. And I hope he can respect that. He said he wasn't bitter as much as Avi or Joseph, but he hasn't said a lot either, and he hasn't really asked questions. So he too is another big question mark. I see him maybe voting John, maybe voting me. He and Avi are just... So anyway. Clasped. I think I do have clasped vote. I know I left a bitter taste in his mouth with my speech, but Clasped had to know if he went on another round, you were winning. You were a big character and a big impact from the merge on. I think your biggest downfall was that you started too soon. The strategy was there and the social skills were there, but starting at Final 14 and making yourself that big threat is not something that gets you to the end quite often. So that was the reason Clasped had his boot, and I wanted to let him know that he wasn't just another game piece for me. So I think I really do have Gwen and Clasped's votes. Spider is a toss-up. Spider always said she was voting for Pig, but that she would root for me if she were in the jury and I were in FTC. I'm hoping my pitch to people have made Spider realize that I'm deserving. A lot of people aren't voting for Pig, so she could give him a pity vote, and that's something that I wouldn't be shocked if she did. Love Spider. Fred is another toss-up. I think he knows that I played a good game, but there was that friendship factor that he is definitely taking into account. So he and I played in B2B Season 2, and we were the Final 2. At Final 3, he won FIC, and instead of booting Chelsdog from my OG season, who was the obvious GOAT, he cut Chelsea and took me because we were very good friends that season. And I definitely played that up, that Fred deserves a win. And I think that's ultimately what he's taking into account when he's making this vote. So yes, it was kind of like I had the opportunity to give him the same thing. I could cut the obvious GOAT in John or Pig, and let him get a TC and ultimately win. These jurors have flat out told me they would vote for Fred. Or I could cut Fred and try and take the win for myself. And I ended up doing the latter because I came here to win. I'm sorry. I'm shitty. I'm a shitty ass person with a dump truck ass. Sue me. Yes, I know what I did to Fred, and it's something that I had to ask for forgiveness rather than permission, because how else would I win this game? So yes, I can understand where he's coming from. Hopefully I have his vote. I gave a final pitch, and I hope he accepts it. Overall, I really think I deserve this win. I played the middleman game since Final 15-16, since the Sooner vote, and nobody knew about it until I had to say that I was playing this middleman game. That doesn't happen. I didn't get a single vote all season long. No one's done that. I was in the majority of the votes throughout the entire time. There was a time, actually, where the vote was split, and that was on the Sooner vote. But it was still my plan to split the vote. It wasn't unintentional. I was never unintentionally left in a minority. The other two were. I've won 2 challenges. I won that final immunity challenge. My ass would have been gone if I didn't. Touchy subjects. I was named basically best social game, best strategic game, best game overall. I would be their best friend in real life. Like, all of these titles say that I was the biggest threat. Why did I not receive a vote? That was at Final 9. Final 9 to the end, I didn't receive a vote. It sounds like I'm bragging, but really I hate myself. I don't like myself. I'm trash. But this was probably the best resume I have ever built in an org that I've played. And when I presented it to these people, they were just like, yeah, so what? And I was like, fucking A! So it's been a frustrating FTC. I'm not expecting a blowout. These people have been saying this vote is close. I'm hoping it's not as close as I'm making it out to be in my head. Overall, I had a very fun season. I can see why others might not have seen it as fun, especially if there's a pagonging involved. But you know what? I played the game that I had to play. I was given a certain hand, and I went with it. I had a plan, and I was thinking 3 rounds ahead when everyone else wasn't. And that's what got me to the end. I lied, sure. And I think I'm the true example of what it means to be a hero and also a villain. So, come on, just give me the